Wow, women helping other women learn, grow, and empower. Learn new things, grow from what you learn. Empower others to do the same. Helping you to create a plan for your life, vision for a better life. Get connected to resources, seminars, trainings, women helping others with the gifts that they have. Contact Crystal Ifakoya, the founder and creator of WOW. Why not? Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to Black is Magazine, Phases the Next Level. We are so excited to be here. So humbled to have Carrie with us today interviewing. We're just going to jump into the interview. You guys, if you're out there, if you're new here, subscribe, like, and share. Leave your comments below. We'd love to hear what you have to say or answer any questions that you might have after the interview. So anyway, we're going to jump right in. Carrie, welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you today?
Thank you so much. I'm doing good. I'm blessed to be alive. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm just excited to have you. I'm humbled. I want to just say one thing before we get started. Andrea Ward, I have to shout her out. She connected me to you, and the thing about it was that she had so many great things to say about you. And I talked to her last night, and I said, "Okay, tomorrow's the day." And she's like, "Oh, she's amazing. She's amazing." So, and just looking at your profile and everything that we've discovered about you, you are an amazing person, and you keep being great. Keep being
Thank
great.
you so much. I will. I appreciate that. And I
Yeah.
love Andrea.
Yeah, she's amazing. So I want to start off. Let's just introduce, I want you to introduce yourself to the world. Tell them who you are and what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Carrie Bernans. I am an actress, stunt woman, professional athlete. I'm a daughter. I am a faith believer. I'm a hope dealer, so I will deal you hope. I um, I love everything. I love swimming, going outdoors. I love showing people that they can do anything that they set their minds to. I will be your biggest cheerleader, and I'm there to also stump negativity in the ground. So I have the courage to stand up for people that may otherwise, feel that they can't stand up for themselves. So I'm a philanthropist. Yeah,
Yeah. So you guys, you better watch out because she don't play. She don't
I don't play at all, and I
don't let
speak
that
six
pretty
languages.
face, don't let that pretty face fool you.
Exactly.
So let's get into it because I want to know all about you. We have a little bit of your time right now. I know you're a busy person. I want to talk about your childhood and growing up. I know that you're a very young lady and you have a lot going on. Like you're very successful already. So at what point did you know growing up that you wanted to be doing what you're doing today, particularly acting?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I realized I wanted to do acting at a really young age. I would say like 4 or 5 years old. I remember watching TV and then depicting like the shows that I saw, or I would start writing something. And my mom had a journal that she kept from when I was a young girl at a young age, and she said I always was running around the house trying to act and be something, or to use my voice in different ways. And I was always taking the lead and saying, "Mom, let me do this, let me do that." But I also knew that when I was younger that it was very difficult because my mom was a teenage mom. She was a single parent and we were moving around a lot. So I tried not to ask her too much. But when I was in school, I did all the church plays at every church we went to, which was a lot. I sung in the choir. I did musical theater. I did theater in school. And I always knew I wanted to do it. I just never really honestly had the means to like pursue it kind of full time like I do now. And I moved to LA 5 years ago. And I mean, I've done acting, I would say, like really kind of chasing it for maybe like the last 11 years, but I was in college part of that time. I
Right.
was in working another job. And then the last 5 years has been full time, like hitting the ground and just going at it.
That's good. I like where you mentioned, it's been 11 years, but the last five, you knew what you wanted and you went for it. But let's back up a little bit because I read somewhere where you were having a conversation with someone or people were giving you advice and was like, you sure you want to do acting because that's, kind of far, few and in between. It's not really, stable. So let's talk about that
Yeah,
because
my mom actually told me that at one point in time. So that's also I'm not gonna I'm not gonna lie. I mean at the time I rarely shared my dreams. Like I'm a person that I consider myself a very big dreamer. I'm more than your average dreamer. I believe if I wanted to go to the moon tomorrow it might not happen tomorrow, but if I wanted to go in 2 weeks, somehow, some way, Carrie, I find myself on a spaceship going up, if
Yes.
I really want it. So, but my mom, because I think she came from a family of 10 kids, because she already experienced a lot of challenges and upbringings in her life, it was hard to tell her. Like when I told her before I wanted to like go into acting full time, she was like, "You should just get a regular job, get a career, blah blah blah. You need to find something that's stable." Like I was in a relationship at the time, and she's like, "What are you gonna do with your partner, blah blah blah?" And I was like, "Well, he understands." And I felt that sense of I needed this foundation or this comfortability. But what I really realized in the long term is that it wasn't that my mom didn't believe in me, it's that she didn't want me to fail and not have a place to go. And because I'm not sure exactly what I ask her sometimes what are her ultimate dreams. And I think her dreams changed so many times because she did have kids at a young age, because she was trying to figure out the means to make, just survival stuff that she may have felt at those dreams, so she didn't understand how to really fully achieve them. Besides, like, I'm not going to say the ordinary dreams, but I would consider some jobs are everyone, there's millions of people that done it, so it's easier to get done. And then there's jobs that not millions of people do, like going to the moon is not a ordinary job. That's a job that requires a lot more, and a lot of people fail before they get there. So it can be this thing you spend years and years and money and doing it. So I understand, but yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't stop me. So
Yeah.
that was a long answer.
Yeah, and that's okay. That was my whole point, is that we can be anything that we put our mind to it, but it's what you put into it. If you have that commitment, and if you have that motivation, and you have that want, then you can do it. And I try to teach people that I come across, especially young children, that it doesn't matter where you come from, that if you fight hard enough for what you want, you can get there.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and I also read something where you talked about you got a lot of no's. Let's talk about those no's that you got and what kept you motivated and going, because a lot of people don't have that backbone to accept that no, and they fail because they quit, because they don't
Yeah.
know.
And failure is always going to be a thing, right? And I think that everyone has to understand that it's not about that it keeps you from succeeding. It's that you need to fail more often. Then the more no's you get, the better it's going to build you, because they thicken your skin. You get scars and little burns along the way. But then now you learn not to stand too close to the kitchen, or now you learn that if I'm going to cook with this level of grease, I need to prepare myself. So what I think is that knows build backbone, knows build character, knows allows you thicker skin. And how do you get there? You have to prepare yourself. I mean, the thing is like the right opportunity will find you, and it will find a way, period. I believe that God, how everything is set up, things are going to align in your favor if you're putting in the work and you're consistent and disciplined. If you're not putting the work and you're not consistent and disciplined, you might not get it. I'm gonna be honest, because there's a million people that are out there willing to do it, or maybe 100,000, or maybe 10,000. But anyways, along the process of acting, I've been on so many auditions. I mean, I was just talking to Winston Sinclair, one of the casting directors on Clubhouse, and I was reminding her that was like about 5 years ago when I was auditioning for the Tupac film that she was casting, and I got the call back for the film. And in the acting world, how it works is you do your first audition. It's kind of like a first interview for a job, and then the second audition is kind of like your second interview, but we consider a callback. And then you might have a third audition, which is like a producer session, which like is more people in the room, and it's kind of like the third time like a company sees you. They might have the president there, a few other people that you might work with immediately on their team. So you go through these processes. And at the time when I got the call back for the job, I was super excited. I really wanted it, just like you want any job. And I put in the work. I studied the lines. I knew exactly how I was going to do it. I knew that I was going inside of the room. It was pre-COVID, and that I was putting myself under a lot of pressure, because I will say, just like it is when you're doing a regular job, or just like it is when you're speaking in front of an audience of 10,000 people or 100 people or 50 people, nerves will get to you, right? But I say the more that you put yourself under pressure in front of people, the more you prepare yourself. So then you go out there. I did the audition. I left it on the table and I left. I never got a call. I never heard anything. That right there is what we call a silent no. You just don't know. In acting industry, you don't get no call back when you like, hey, you didn't get the part. You just don't know. You don't hear nothing.
Right.
So when you don't hear nothing from multiple jobs that you want, of course, you know, if the beginning it might get to you, but you have to realize that this journey is going. Auditioning is just a part of your regular lifestyle. It's a part of your daily job until you get to the level where all the auditions are. I mean, the projects are being directly offered to you. So I think that to me, I don't need a note to validate the work that I did from someone else. Now, if that validation comes and it's a perfect match, then great. Of course, will I be happy? Yes. If it's something I want, absolutely. But what it does is it's like it's another opportunity for me to say, this is what I love doing. This is me fulfilling my purpose. I'm gonna bring every life and every moment to this character to give it justice and leave it on the table and pat myself on the back and be proud that I did a great job and I left it out there.
I like that. I love you. You motivate me. I'm like, what can I do next? Yeah. I really love hearing you speak. I like that because you are a motivator. Like you're sitting here motivating me. And I can't wait to get this interview out because there's so many people that I speak with, Carrie, that says, you know, I want to do it, you know, but I'm afraid, or I want to do it. I don't have the means to do it. What do you tell them when they say, I don't have the means, we don't have the money? Because you experienced that. What do you tell
Yeah.
them to motivate them that it's okay?
Absolutely. I say, you know, you don't have the means and the money, but you do have resources at your fingertips. What I will say that we have that people back in the 90s, 80s, and far on didn't have is we have the internet. We have cell phones. We don't have no house phones anymore. A lot of people don't, you know. So what can you do with what you do have? I say, you know, you still have a means to act, right? You can go online and look up an audition, a monologue. You can practice. You can look stuff up on YouTube, which is like free university, right? And until you get it. And one of the things that I did early on in my career, when I first moved to LA, I didn't have that much money. I put 3 months rent down on the place where I was staying. And I said I was going to Uber, Lyft, Postmates, whatever I had to do to make the money to keep it going because I knew this is what I wanted to do. So I took the money from my last job that I was at. I put 3 months rent down, had enough to buy some food and stuff. I did have a partner at the time, but still, he was like looking for a job. We were trying to figure things out. And what I said at the time is what did I do? I Ubered. I Ubered and I just went to classes I really wanted to go to and I didn't have the money, like the $400 a month. And I just said to them, and all honestly, I was humble and I said, hey, I really want to take your class. This is what I was made to do. Can I put down a $50 deposit and I will give you the rest of the money by the end of the week? And I had the faith to believe that I was going to be able to get the money by driving enough Uber, doing enough Postmates, in order to pay for that class. And then every time, every situation I ever did that, I came up with the money. And then you know what that did? It placed a seed in the ground. Even if you don't have the means today, remember that you're planting seeds. You have to invest in yourself. And this is a career that you want. Doctors go 8 years to do this. They pay for a whole degree. They pay $100,000 each year to do it, you know? So you have to invest something. And what I also believe in, if you invested out of the willingness to want to learn and you're putting some type of money on the table, it puts more grit in the game. You don't want to waste your money, you know, so you go and study and do right in those classes. And even if you were taking classes every other month, you apply everything you learned from that first month on the second month and being more consistent and disciplined. So I just say, like, set a vision for yourself, know exactly what you want, and you will achieve it. You just got to believe that you can, and it will happen. If you believe that the money is not there, the money is not going to be there. If you start believing, it will come. It will come. And if you want the opportunities, you have to earnestly say, I want the opportunities. I'm going to seek out the opportunities and I'm going to make a list. This is what I want. This is my vision looks like. What classes? Let me call them right now. Even if I don't got the money in my pocket, let me, you know, hey, I'm going to need $350 for this class. So I'm going to figure out how to get that. I'm going to need this much for my camera and my self-tape studio and setup, you know, and start writing that stuff down. And I promise you, it's going to start happening, but you got to put the work in.
You're right. I want to talk about some of the gigs that you got, prior to like knowing that, dang, I think I've made it, you know.
Yeah.
Like I hear like a Viola Davis and I hear other seasoned actresses and their stories about how they were taking parts. They wanted it so bad they would take parts that they really didn't want, like being maybe a cokehead or being playing a whore or whatever, you know, and then till they got to a level and said, I'm going to take this. And if you don't offer me that, I just won't get it until I get what I do want. Let's talk about that in the business.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that everybody in the business are at all different moments, right? Because I know Viola Davis, she was, I mean, brilliant, brilliant actress that has done Broadway and
I
just
love
like
her.
so much work, 20 plus years before she really, her name was out there more mainstream, right? And it was because of Meryl Streep, and she mentioned it in her speech that really put it out there because you really do need people to vouch for you. That's 100% how the business works. What I will say is that yeah, people play different type of roles in order to get their name out there more and to get more exposure and also to pay the rent and pay bills. And then you get to that streak that people are like, well, I'm not willing to sacrifice myself anymore. And I mean, I haven't gotten there yet. I would say like for the most part, if I didn't want to do something, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to jeopardize myself. But in some ways, I wanted to play some of these characters that I was exposed to at a very young age because I knew their story was way beyond just playing the drug or the crackhead. Now,
Yes.
you ain't gonna see me playing crackhead number one, two, three, four, but I might be playing Keisha, the crackhead that went through some domestic violence abuse at 18, 19 years old, that was pregnant with a baby, that went through foster care, and she lost out on the street selling drugs. Now, Keisha got a whole story,
Right.
but all the people know right now is that Keisha was a crackhead, that she gave her kid up to, the foster care system, but they don't know that she was beat. Her parents left her at a young age because they were addicted to drugs and they were a fiend and all this stuff. And what I see in those stories is that when people watch TV, they see, oh my God, I used to be a Keisha, or I know a Keisha. Let me reach out to her and see what I can do to save her. What can I do to offer this realness and to break the wall? Because what I feel that a lot of people don't have, what TV exposes to us on a daily basis and more now than ever, is it breaks down this level of humanism of how people relate to one another. Now they start to understand why somebody became who they became. A killer wasn't just a killer because he wanted to go murder somebody. He did something out of desperation, out of lack and fear of something, and he wanted to belong to something else or whatever.
Yes.
So I think there's definitely, don't get me wrong, as I say, I want to play those roles. I also want to play like very historical roles that like break stereotypes and that shows that Black women are way beyond just a whore or
Absolutely.
a single parent mom. Like I do want to play like somebody that they can be like, wow, this is the type of mom I want to be, or this is the type of courage I want to have, or etc.
So like impactful roles that if it's just like a public speaker, like I come by way of public speaking and I want to tell my personal story because you never know who's listening. And every time I come off the stage, it's like, thank you. Thank you. I didn't know how to move forward until you said it. Now I can relate to what you're telling me. And that's exactly within acting, like you're saying. I want to do something that's impactful, that will impact somebody's life for the greater good. And so
Yeah.
that's also what I like about you. Let's talk about Black Panther.
Thank you.
Like,
Let's do it.
yeah, so you were in Black Panther. Tell me, I want to know from the beginning, what led you up to being accepted in that role? What did you have to go through? Because that's a big deal.
Yeah, thank you so much. I absolutely love Black Panther. Black Panther means everything to me
Yes.
still to today. Like,
Yes.
that role actually came out of me like posting stuff on social media and just reaching out to people in general on saying like, hey, just so you know, I'm an actress and I also do stunts and I know how to do the bow staff and I speak 6 languages. And I think that it was me letting people know that my skill set was out there. So when they came looking for it was there. And I think that's the biggest thing. Black Panther for me was it was from what I know, because I was always wondering, because I got the call at 6:30 in the morning from a number that was an Atlanta number and I live in Los Angeles.
Right.
And someone said, hey, this is the production of Motherland. Is this Carrie? I was like, yes. And then they basically asked was I available to film these dates? Was I willing to shave my head bald? And my name got referred to them from X, Y, and Z. I didn't later on find out that the X, Y, and Z was a couple things. It was a best friend to the director, Ryan Coogler, I guess, that saw something on social media, me doing my bow staff skills and saw me doing my language stuff. And then it was also somebody that was in the stunt world that also vouched for me behind the scenes and was like, yeah, this girl is really multi-skilled. And that's how they said, oh yeah, she'll be perfect as a Dora Milaje. And he had, Ryan Coogler had multiple women that he could choose from to play this role. So I believe that honestly, it was through relationships that got me there, but it was relationships unknown to me. So what I would tell anyone, and what I always say, is that you never know what you put out on social media, how it plays an effect to how someone sees you, how they vouch for you, what they say about you, what they send to X, Y, and Z, etc. So I just say, like, people don't know what they don't know. If you don't put your skills out there, nobody will ever know. If they don't know you do that, they ain't gonna know unless they get to know you. And sometimes time frame goes like this. So I'm very grateful that that happened. And yeah, that's how I got there. And I was flown out. I remember a black SUV came and picked me up. That was my first time. I was flown out when I filmed, I think, Luke Cage. And then other than that, that was my like biggest project beyond like Luke Cage. And I did a pilot that I played a smaller role in, which was still a role, which I'm grateful for, in LA. And I was like, oh my God, a black SUV picked me up. Oh my God, they flying me first class. Like, I was like, I had a vision board that was so clear. I was like, this is on my vision board. God is so good.
Yes.
And I was just so happy. And I remember they put me in, I think the Lowe's Hotel at the time. I was on like the 28th floor. I remember like my windows were made of all glass. And it was just like, I would sleep with the windows open at night because it was just so beautiful. And I was like, I'm living a dream. It's a moment for me. And it set being on that set too, it was like the first set I was on that was mostly Black people. Every other set I've been on before, it was only like 2 or 3 like
Yeah.
African Americans or just Black people in general. It was such an amazing opportunity, and everyone was so talented. And to see Chadwick Boseman work, and Michael B. Jordan, and Letitia, and all the other stunt performers, working with them was absolutely incredible. I love them like family, each of them, from Chadwick to Denai, just like honestly, just being in their presence was like a masterclass, and to watch them work was a masterclass. And I was just absorbing and taking as much as I can and bringing as much as I can to everything that we had to do. I wanted to be 1,000% prepared. So, I didn't drop the ball on anything that they were doing. And yeah, so we had definitely scenes that Chadwick was in, and let's see, Chadwick was in, Michael B. Jordan was in. I think Letitia may have been there. But there was days that I got to see them, and we were able to get to speak to them and just talk with them, and it was great. Like, they were so cool. They were so human. I remember hugging Michael B. Jordan at least 3 times on that set, and I was just like, ah.
Yeah.
And now it's funny because I look back and I feel like I was so young because I mean, it was like 3 years ago, I guess.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, oh, I've seen him so many times now. I just did a coach campaign with him recently, and
Oh,
I was like, oh, this is cool.
yeah.
And yeah, Chadwick was so amazing. He offered advice to everyone. He told me like not to let this be my biggest thing I've ever done, and to continue to go and to be disciplined. He tried to crack a joke at me, and I found it very rude. I can't remember what it was, but I was just like, what? And then he came back to me later and he said, that was a joke, right? And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I was like, I thought you were mean at first, but he wasn't. And I actually volunteered with him for this World Hunger Day
Oh,
um, a couple years after that. And we always stayed in contact because
yeah.
we had a lot of mutual friends.
Well, that was nice. Okay, and then also you did, is that right?
Avengers.
Avengers?
Yeah, Avengers
Let's talk
Endgame.
about that.
Yeah, Avengers Endgame was absolutely incredible too. I got to play Adore Milaje as well. I got to do some really cool stunts and stuff that didn't even make it, honestly. I was in it for like 5 seconds, but I'm still so grateful because I remember like I wanted to be on that project forever. I love the Russo brothers. I love the stunt coordinator, Monique Anderton. And I love the whole crew. I loved all the superheroes in there. And I was like, God, please. And Endgame to me was it was the best Avengers in my opinion. I'm a big comic book fan, always have been. I have so many comic books on my bookshelf, and I watched all of the Marvel films growing up. And to just like be in the presence of everybody and to just be there and to be learning and to get to play, it was a dream come true. And I'm excited about everything else to come after.
Contact Crystal Ifakoya, the founder and creator of WOW. Why not?
Speaking of Marvel, tell us about what you how you play a role in being or how you are connected to Marvel Studios.
Oh yeah, Marvel Studios. So yeah, well, Black Panther and Avengers Endgame falls under Marvel Studios, and then as well as X-Men follows under them too. And I was doing X-Men: The Dark Phoenix as well in Montreal, Canada, which
Yeah.
was also a really cool experience. And I was helping out with Coda Ebenhart with stunt doubling, as well as doing some like choreography and just being there on hand for anything needed with just like a lot of action stuff. It was also a dream too. I love the X-Men franchise. I will come back on the X-Men franchise in the future. I just don't know when. Whoever's gonna call me when y'all gonna do it.
Yeah.
But as the woman Wolverine or as the Lady Gambit, is I'm just putting it out there. That's also some dreams of what I wanna definitely tap in and do. And play those characters.
How did you get into? I know you're very athletic.
Yeah.
Very athletic. So is that how you got into the stunt? Getting chosen for the stunt doubles, right? Aren't you a stunt double? Is that right?
Yeah, okay. So acting, is just usually just the acting. And then you have this thing called stunt actors where they portray a character and they're also saying some lines and they're also doing their own action.
Oh,
And then you have stunt doubles where, like, let's say that you were an actress, right? And you were playing on the movie and you had to do like a front flip or you had to crash into a wall. They're not going to ever have the actor do it. They're going to ask for somebody that looks similar to the actor and they're going to put them in their costume and be a stunt double. And then you have just stunt performers, which are just like performers that are doing just action. They're in the scene to go ride the horse really fast past. They're more than just specialty. They're usually doing some type of trick on the horse or just there for safety and security of the actors that is around the set, as well as to portray, like, to keep the action moving in the scene. So I've done being a stunt performer where I do some horse stuff, where I might do like a motorcycle or a car or some fights. And then I might do some stunt acting where I'm like starting a fight in a bar and say, "Yo, man, what the you doing, huh?" And smash him, and then bam, then he hits me back, and maybe I die, and boom, that's the end of my episode. And then there's sometimes I'm a stunt double, which like I've doubled actors, like their action that they're gonna do because it might be either A, considered very dangerous for them to do, and they rather somebody a professional do it,
right.
or B, the actor might not just be like very athletically inclined or don't want to do anything that can be perceived as dangerous.
Right.
So,
How do you get hired for those type of jobs? Do you audition for that as well, or is it word?
um, a lot of it is word of mouth. I mean, there is auditions for it. I've had personally, I don't think I've ever done. I think I've done one audition for a stunt job before, but most of them, because of like my level of experience, and once you start working and people start talking, you have referrals, and you can always say, "Well, so and so is a good person for you to like to go to, like to vouch for me in this job or whatever." So referrals is the most ways to go, and then also having a reel too of showing all the action that you do and that you've done it for a while. And then you got to be honest too, because if safety is at hand, like if you say you are a high fall specialist and
Okay.
you get up there and you're 70 feet in the air and you got to fall on this bag or whatever down there, and you lie, you get up there and they already spent, like, there's 100 crew members working that day. They spent money to get the whole drone thing up there, all this stuff. You got $100,000 on the day on the line for that day alone. You don't need to back job, be like, I can't do it. But at the same time, if you get up there and you're not safe, you shouldn't do anything you're not comfortable doing.
That's right.
But that's what I'm saying is like, it's all about a level of honesty.
Mhm.
And I also come from a very sports oriented background too, like you mentioned earlier. So
No, we're talking about word of mouth and people referring you, and I always refer back to treat everybody with kindness, no matter who you come in contact with, no matter what the situation is. Be sure that you're treating people the way you want to be treated, because you never know who's going to reach back and grab and say, I remember you and I want to help you. And
yeah.
so that's what I thought about when Andrea was like, because she was giving me some referrals and she referred you, but she had so many good things to say. And it was just like when you build those relationships, they're kind of precious, and you never know who you might need or who might need you. And so I always I tell people to be mindful how you treat people. So you've been really kind to people.
Yeah. Thank
Obviously.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no reason not to be. I just feel like you said the world only gets better if you're kind to everyone, and you never know what anyone is going through, and
Yeah.
I think like we are all planting seeds, and why plant a seed that's not going to grow into
Absolutely.
something.
Wow, women helping other women learn, grow, and empower. Learn new things, grow from what you learn. Empower others to do the same.
Faith. You talk about your faith a lot.
Yeah.
And that appealed to me heavily because everything that I do, I put God first. This Black is magazine, whatever I do, it's all to his glory. And you talked about, I had 3 months rent, but every time it worked out. Got to
Yeah.
know it's God. We got to know that he provides for us. Talk about your faith.
Absolutely. Yeah, I am a Christian. I'm a firm believer that God does exist and that He's actively in my life. And I discovered Him at a young age, especially when we moved around a lot when I was younger. There was times where we would be at the gas station and would have no gas, and my mom would just like said, "Well, God already showed me He was going to provide." And randomly, a person would walk by and give my mom like $20 or $40, and I'd be like, "What in the world?" So I was like, God, you do exist. um, but to me, especially, I consider myself more spiritual than religious, right? And when I say that, is that yes, I believe that God exists and all that. I'm not, um, I'm not one to preach to people like pointing fingers. This. You're going to go to hell. Blah blah blah. But I'm wanting to show and exhibit through my own work and through the way that I speak to people and through my relationships with people. I am the one that people friends have something in need, they call me and ask me to pray for them. I'm that girl. I'm a believer in prayer, and I'm a believer in faith, and I'm a believer in sowing seeds, and I'm a believer in just knowing that just like Wi-Fi, even if you don't see it, know that you're connected and that God exists like faith. The faith exists. You just have to believe it's working
Right.
and that the work that you put in, it will pay off. And that I believe that God placed each of us with purpose on this earth to fulfill things that are greater to the good of all and to the good of him in order to lift and bring us together. And I think when people realize that you're going to operate on a different level, different frequency, a um different energy. And I also believe too that like why go around this world with all the bags on your shoulder and this weight that you're carrying on. It's much easier, and it's also um it helps you more fulfill your purpose if you know and also trust and believe that God does exist and that you can hand over this weight to him and to say, God, I can't handle this on my own. I need your help. And when you know you have that partner for the rest of your life, you're going to go further and this foundation that is built on so you don't fall stagnant. And even on the days that you feel like you're alone, because chasing your dreams, you do have those moments, that you know that you always have somebody that's going to be there for you unconditionally no matter what. So,
Absolutely, because a lot of I live by this. My dream is not everybody's dream, and the things that I'm doing, it gets a little lonely out here.
yeah,
Everybody's not going to believe in it, but I believe in it, and
yeah,
so I do know that even though if it's just me, I'm going to keep fighting. But I know God is with me, and
yeah.
whatever's supposed to happen is going to happen. So, one more about your acting. Tag, the ultimate
Ultimate Tag.
tag. Yes, ultimate tag. Let's talk about
Yeah,
that.
I love Ultimate Tag. I play a character called the Banshee, which is a villainous character that goes after. So it's really the game of tag on steroids. It's like tag you're it, but it's we play like American gladiators, dressing up and stuff and chasing after people. And I totally just act on the whole show, like because I'm not mean in real life, but on the show I'm very mean. I'm very villainous. I'm very like lure you in, like come play with me, take the tag and I will
Saw
steal
that
you.
clip. Yes.
Yeah. So, it's a lot of fun, and it was just something fun to do at the moment I was at in my life right now, and I love it. Plus, it also ties in all my athleticism, and
Yeah.
I was able to do parkour and jump around and run, and I just loved it. I love my entire tag team.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
So that show's on Fox, right?
Yep, it's on Fox. It's on Hulu right now because it's off of Fox because we're on an off season.
Right.
But
But it's on Hulu right now. So y'all go to Hulu and watch her on
yeah,
Ultimate Tag. Before we go, we got to talk about your nonprofit. We got to talk about CBC Foundation. I
yes,
saw you and your best friend go back home. You're from Richmond, Virginia.
yeah. I'm from Richmond, Virginia, but I have two hometowns. I consider Richmond and I consider Memphis, Tennessee. So we
So
went back to Memphis.
Memphis. It was Memphis. It sure was. But you
Yep.
guys went back and you guys are serving the underserved, that you're going to buy them stuff and you just racked up on stuff. And you just felt it just looked like what I saw, it just looked like you were so comfortable in doing it. Like that's what you were created to do well, is take care of people because you know where you come from. Talk
Yeah.
about that. Let's talk about you going back to serve your community, giving back.
Mhm.
And then I want to get into your foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really important to me to always go back and to realize how far you've come, and then to just like it's each one reach one, each one teach one. But I mean, sometimes we can reach multiple people. It just depends on your means. But I say one person can always affect one person. Um, but what I would say is like I wanted to always go back to Memphis. Like Memphis is a place to me that I consider a hometown. I lived there for 6 years, but it feels like a lifetime. Memphis helped raise me and grew me and made me even more of the woman I am today. And one of the things that Memphis did for me is that it it's always they've everyone in Memphis has always been supportive of me and my career, which I'm so grateful for. And the kids reach out, and because literacy and poverty is some of the lowest in the lowest in the country for literacy and the highest in the country for poverty, it was always important to like change the way that Memphis is looked at from the rest of the world, because the city is full of so much talent and so much music and so much love, and rarely do these kids get to experience what that's made of in their own city. So yeah, through my foundation, CB Seed, and my best friend Candace Renee Rice Foundation, we were able to do our third year annual give back this past December, where we took 75 kids on a shopping spree
Yeah.
of $250 each. And they were also able to get a food basket to take home, which has a 1 to 2 weeks worth of food in it. They were able to get a like 4 or 5 star meal at Benihana. They were able to also get hair care products from Curls and a few other things. And our first year, I just told Candace we had to do this, and we were going back and forth because we only had 2 weeks to plan last year our first year doing it.
Uh-huh.
And we had took 10 kids, and then last year, the year in 2019, it was 28 kids, and then last year was 75 kids. And the reason why we doing this as well is because I come from a single parent household. We were on the poverty line. We were half a check away, no check away from being homeless for another time, or sleeping on somebody else's couch, or whatever the case may be. And I was surprised for a shopping spree by the YMCA and Target myself for $500 at a time where I desperately needed just socks and underwear and stuff that I've been asking my mom for. And to her, she didn't feel like I needed that stuff, or she maybe did, but made it seem smaller to me because she just didn't have the money. And I remember comparing myself to other kids because I was doing every sport possible, as we mentioned earlier. And I wanted a sports bra. And I remember buying a million sports bras then after my $500 shopping spree.
Mhm.
But the point being is like it changed my life forever. At that young age, I was like 10, 11, or 12. And I remember saying at that moment, I'm doing this for someone else. I remember I said, I'm doing this. And it took some years, but it started now 4 years ago, because this is going on our fourth year, will be this December.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
is amazing, amazing, amazing. I love what you're doing. And it's always, you get your biggest blessings when you're giving back, and we're remembering where we come from. So I just wish you continued success.
Oh,
We,
thank you.
we will follow you. We will support your movies. We'd like to catch up with you again, and just to see how you're doing and how things are going. So before we get out of here, let's talk about what you got going on currently. I know you just came back from filming. So
Yeah.
what do you have going on just recently?
Yeah, I just filmed the pilot called High Heel. There'll be more details to come, but it was produced by Trey London, Tyga, Trinidad James,
Ah,
Christina Arquette. quite a few people.
Yeah.
It's gonna be big. It's gonna be amazing. I play one of the leads on there.
Good.
I'm Thank you so much. It's a series. I'm excited. I don't have all the details yet because it's not exactly all out, so I can't talk too much about
Right.
it.
Right.
But I'm excited about it.
Right.
And then I did a movie called Harder They Fall. I'm in New Mexico as well over quarantine.
That's right.
Um, yep, and they'll be out on Netflix in this fall.
Mhm.
And I'm going to film another movie that I'm a lead in a few weeks. And then I'm up for a few series right now that I'm waiting to finish shows deals to be closed. And then I'll be filming the rest of the year.
Yeah, well, gosh, you wear a lot of hats. You're doing a lot at such a young age. God has really blessed you, and it just shows all over your face. So
I think
keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing, and especially giving back to those kids because guess what? If you didn't show up, you know,
right.
that for that one kid that was just like praying, God send somebody, and
Yeah.
he
And
showed up.
I was that one kid. So I'm gonna continue to do it. That's in my blood. I We get back to the homeless here too weekly, through my foundation as well, CBC. And like I'll never stop. I don't care wherever I'm at in life. If I got a dollar, if I got $10 million or 100 million, like that's something that we're gonna do. And we give in a lot of ways, right? We don't advertise all of our givings of how we give, but just know that if we run into someone that's in need, I mean, you know, we're a vessel. We're all vessels on this earth that's being used for a greater purpose. And I think that once we all realize that, that the world's going to be a better place. Period. So
And I feel like that giving back and along with your faith and your self-care and your spirituality, all you can do is win.
yeah, thank
And
you.
even when you get a no, you're still winning. You're still
Yeah,
winning. And so thank you for being here. I appreciate you so
thank
much, you
you.
guys. Thank you for tuning in. Follow Carrie. Carrie, go ahead and tell them how they can follow you and where they can find you.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. My Instagram and Twitter is Carrie Bernans, CarrieBernans. Also have a website, carriebernans.com. Um, Find me on Facebook, same name, Carrie Bernans. You can like my page. A lot of stuff to come. And it's been such a pleasure speaking with Black Is Magazine. Thank you so much, y'all. And you're so beautiful. And I'm so happy that I got to experience your presence. Thank you so much.
And I feel the same. Thank you so much. You guys, we're going to get out of here for now, but remember, respect yourself and respect each other. And until next time, we're out.
Wow, women helping other women learn, grow, and empower. Learn new things, grow from what you learn. Empower others to do the same. Helping you to create a plan for your life, vision for a better life. Get connected to resources, seminars, trainings. Women helping others with the gifts that they have. Contact Crystal Ifakoya, the founder and creator of WOW. Why not?